This is Geometry, Semester 1. It's the 5th unit called Pythagorean Theorem. And it's the first lesson called Legs and Hypotenuse Locations Practice. It's on creatormath.com under the Geometry tab. You may have to Google creatormath.weebly.com to find the site. The instructions are copy the following problems into your composition book on the correct pages according to the table of contents with the notes for those pages from creatormath.com. So before we get into the Pythagorean Theorem problem set here, let's go and look at where the notes are on the website so you can figure this out. So here's the website, creatormath.weebly.com. Type that into Google and hopefully you can find this. The home page will pop up something like this, at least at the time of this filming. So all of your composition book information and instructions and details and videos, etc. are on this homepage. Just scroll down until you see composition book and the picture and then start watching those videos and following those directions and following those due dates. You should have 100% on that. For now, we're going to go find the notes. It's under the Geometry tab for this class. This is where you're going to find vocabulary. This is the entire PDF for all the vocabulary for the school year in geometry. And if you're not getting 100% on your vocabulary practice assignments, this is how you do it. Pull up that PDF, figure out how to search a PDF by searching Google and say, how do you search a PDF? Pass by this, we're going to find the right semester. That's important. Match up the semester you're in. For this video, it's this one, Semester 1, and it's the table of contents. This needs to be written on pages 2 through 6 of your composition book. See the examples if you don't understand what that looks like, but it's about 3.5 pages long, and it tells you where everything in the comp book goes. So if you don't have that written into pages 2 through 6 of your composition book, please stop what you're doing now and go do that. Move down the table of contents here and find the unit we're in. So this unit is Pythagorean Theorem. It is the 5th unit in this first semester, and we are in the first lesson here, which is legs and hypotenuse locations. This is the page numbers that it goes on in your comp book. Please reference the actual table of contents at the time you're viewing this and not this film. This video will probably have the wrong numbers on it by the time you watch it. Okay, so here are the notes, the problem set, and the video solutions will be linked here too. So we're going to click notes. Fair warning, sometimes it takes me twice to open this up. Nope, open the first time there, and I'm not sure what determines that. Maybe it's my Wi-Fi connection or something. But this is Pythagorean Theorem number 1. You're going to copy these notes into your composition book on the correct pages according to the table of contents. We're starting with a right triangle. A right triangle is noted with a triangle with one 90-degree angle, and it will be denoted oftentimes with a small square in one of the angles. Side names. So a triangle has 3 sides and they have names, and the names are very important, and the location of those sides is very important. Don't mix them up. If you mix them up, everything starts to go haywire in this whole understanding, especially with Pythagorean theorem. So there's 2 legs. We like to say a triangle has 2 legs like a human. It's the 2 legs attached to the 90-degree angle. So leg, leg. Across from the leg, not across from the 90-degree angle, not touching the 90-degree angles, is the hypotenuse. The characteristics of the hypotenuse is that it is the longest side, it's across from the largest angle, and if it's a 90-degree triangle, the 90-degree angle is the largest angle. And we like to say it's not touching the 90. See how the 90 is touching the 2 legs, but the 90 is not touching the hypotenuse. Immediately you should know where the hypotenuse is on a right triangle every time. It's the one not touching the 90-degree angle. Here's the Pythagorean theorem. Hype squared equals leg squared plus leg squared. Students often learn a different version. They learn a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I both like it and dislike it. I like it because students remember it rather quickly. I dislike it because students mix up what a, b, and c are in that whole equation. So I like to rewrite it hypotenuse squared equals leg squared plus leg squared, and I abbreviate hypotenuse as hype. And here's examples on how to fill it in. I'll let you put that into your comp book. Here are, let's see, Pythagorean theorem with an unknown. Oh, I see. Or it's just written, oh, it's just moving around the sides. All right, put these into your comp book. Solve them if you can. Definitions, hypotenuse, legs, and hype is an abbreviation for a hypotenuse. All right, so Problems put in your comp book and solve if you can. Let's get into the problem set for this lesson. What is the Pythagorean theorem? So this is it here. Wow. All right, I got a gray one. So this one here. Can that even be seen? Yeah, it's okay. Kind of looks like a pencil lead. Students will learn, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The problem is c is the hypotenuse, and students don't learn that. And so they just start plugging in sides into the Pythagorean theorem. It never works, and they get frustrated. Another way I teach students is to go reverse it. At least say c squared equals a squared plus b squared, because at least you can focus on what this side is first. That's the hypotenuse. And I'd rather you just rewrite it this way. It's hyp squared equals leg squared plus leg squared. This to me is the best because now you can just fill that thing in according to the different sides of the triangle you're given or not given and solve, and we don't have a problem with this what goes in for A, what goes in for B, what goes in for C problem. What is the hypotenuse in a right triangle? More than one answer may apply. So a hypotenuse, and we spell it hypo, H-Y, gonna never write, hypotenuse. I like to say it like that only because it spells that way, hypotenuse. The right way to say it is hypotenuse, right? So it's the longest side, you guys, every time. It's the side across from the 90-degree angle. That's true. It's the side at the bottom of the triangle. No. It could be, the orientation of the triangle doesn't matter. It's the shortest side. No. It's the side across from the smallest angle. No. The only thing I might add, this is on the Pythagorean, so it only deals with 90-degree triangles, but it might be said it's the side across from the largest angle, right? So if you had, say, an obtuse triangle here like this, we know this is the hypotenuse because this has got to be the largest angle. Look, these are acute, right? These are acute, and this one's obtuse. The obtuse is greater than 90. It's got to be the largest angle, so this has to be, it's across from the largest angle. In a right triangle, the largest angle is the 90, right? So it's got to be the one not touching it. All right, so 2 answer choices you're going to mark there. Remember, mine always show up at the top. Yours are going to be randomly generated, so you'll have to think a little bit more. What is the leg in the right triangle? Either of the 2 sides touching the right angle. Okay, so here's your right triangle. Here's the right angle. This is a leg, and this is a leg. A triangle has 2 legs, like a human. Either of the 2 sides touching the right angle. So, name the sides. Name the sides of the right triangle. Well, let's go through them, right? The 2 touching the right angle are here. So leg, and this got to be hype over here because it's not touching. It's across from. Okay. So let's see. Leg. So A, leg. Oh, I get it. A, leg, check. B, leg, check. And C, hypotenuse, check. All right, this one here. Name the sides of the right triangle. So let's do it again. This one is hype. I'm going to abbreviate it because it's not touching the right angle. This one is leg because it is, and this one is leg because it is. All right? So A is a leg, good. B is the hypotenuse, good. And C is a leg, good. Do it again. So let's find the hype. It's not touching the right angle. This has got to be the HYP, hypotenuse. This has got to be a leg because it is touching the 90. And this has got to be a leg because it is touching the 90. So leg, leg, hypotenuse. A is the hypotenuse, B is the leg, and C is the leg. All right, name the sides of the right triangle. So let's go again. Let's find the one not touching the 90. Here you go. So this one across from here is going to be the hypotenuse, hype. This one's going to be the leg. Can we see it? Sorry about that. This one is the leg because it's touching it's one of the sides touching the 90, and the other side touching the 90 is the leg. So we're going to go A leg, B leg, and C height. All right, match them up. Run through. This is giving you practice. You need to do this before we start applying the Pythagorean, because if you don't put the right sides into the Pythagorean, it all messes up anyway, and then students are frustrated. So name the sides of the triangle. Well, this is on a Cartesian coordinate system. See the coordinates, 0, 0 is the origin right here, 9, 0. We don't need to look so much at that. All we need to know is where's this 90-degree angle in this right triangle. And if it's here, A is a leg, C is a leg. So A and C are legs, and B is A, H, Y, P, height. All right. Given the following right triangle, set up the Pythagorean theorem. All right, now we're just setting it up, and notice the answer choices. They're not even asking us to solve. We're just setting it up. So if you're willing, follow through and do a hype squared equals leg squared plus leg squared. That's the best formula to use because it tells us exactly what to start filling in for these. So now all I got to know is this is a leg. Let's call it x. This is a leg, 12. So I got an x squared and I got a 12 squared because that's the two legs. The hypotenuse is here, so it goes into 13 squared. And as you can see, if you don't have these leg names sorted out and you don't have the Pythagorean theorem in a way that explains which are the legs and which is the height, then this can easily be mixed up. I have students putting in 12, here or here or here. They're not sure where, right? That's why you got to know the leg names and the height names before, and use this kind of an understanding of Pythagorean to get this right. So we got 13 squared, here I got it here, 13 squared equals an x squared and a 12 squared. All right, there's the correct one. Given the following triangle, set up the Pythagorean theorem. More than one answer may apply. That's interesting. Let's go back to this one. Now that I see that instruction, this says more than one answer may apply. Let's look again. 13 squared, look. They moved the 12 squared here and the x squared here. So as you hopefully know by now, if you're adding two numbers, it doesn't matter if you add 3 plus 5 or you add 5 plus 3. They both yield 8, right? So we can either write x squared plus 12, or we can write 12 squared plus x. Both of these are correct, so mark two answers. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. It's all right, just back up and fix it. Let's look at this one. All right, height squared equals leg squared plus leg squared. So here are the two legs. They're attached to the 90. You've got 8 and 15. So we have an 8 squared plus a 15 squared. And we have up here a 17 squared. So notice in this one, there's not even an x. They're giving us all the sides. They just want them in the right locations, right? So let's come over here. Here's a 17 squared equals 15 squared plus 8 squared. So that matches. 17 squared equals 8 squared plus 15 squared. That's just reversing the two legs. That's legal. This is not legal because you can't put 15 into the hypotenuse place. See how 15 is a leg? And you can't put 8 into the hypotenuse location. These locations must be where they go, or this whole thing, this Pythagorean, just throw it right away. It doesn't work, right? It's not correct. And Pythagorean's brilliant, so you don't want to be throwing any Pythagorean away, all right? So more than one apply. I see where we're going again. Let's write it out. This is a hype squared equals leg squared plus leg squared, whichever is easier to find. The hypotenuse does not touch the 90s. Here's the 90 and here's the hypotenuse. So I know this is 13 squared. These two are legs. It doesn't matter which order I put them because you're adding them. So I got a 12 squared and a 5 squared, and that's it. And again, so 13 squared equals 12 squared plus 5 squared. That's correct. 13 squared equals 5 squared plus 12 squared. That is correct. Both answers are correct. This has a 12 squared in the, see how it's in the height position? No. See how the 5 squared is a leg and it's in the height position? No. Those two are wrong. All right, given the following triangle, set up the Pythagorean theorem, more than one. Okay, we're just setting them up this time. This is nice. All right, start with this. Hype squared equals leg squared plus leg squared. All right, now we got the equals. That's all in line. Then we're going to roll down through here. Let's see. The height here is here. Why? How do I know? It is not touching the 90, so this is x. So let's put an x squared into height, because that's a hypotenuse, across from the largest angle and the longest side. And you can physically see, I hope you can, that this has got to be the longest side. So it must be in for that height portion of the Pythagorean. So the other's leg. 15 is a leg and 8 is a leg. So you got a 15 squared plus an 8 squared. Let's see. X squared equals 15 squared plus 8 squared. Check. X squared equals 8 squared plus 15 squared. Check. You can reverse the two legs. That's why it doesn't say which leg. It doesn't matter which leg goes into either of those positions, you guys. This one's 15 squared. That's a leg. It cannot be in for the hypotenuse. No, wrong. This is wrong. The 8 is another leg. It cannot be in for the hypotenuse. Right? So this is out. So two answers are correct. Mark both of those. Make sure you are matching up the correct title between this video and the practice problems you're doing. This is Geometry Semester 1. It's the 5th unit called Pythagorean Theorem, and it's 0-1 Legs and Hypotenuse Locations Practice. It's on creatormath.com under the Geometry tab. Hope this helps.